So, how you feeling since watching the movie?
I feel a sense of accomplishment and relief and sadness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mine is relief because I never have to watch a Marvel movie ever again. That was my deal that I made with my friends.
Why would you make that deal? I'm like ready for the next. I'm ready for phase 4, man.
It's just so much.
I love it. What else are you gonna watch?
Game of Thrones. Duh.
Hey, that's about to end.
Yeah, and I'm gonna rewatch it all. No,
you would have to see one Marvel movie, maybe 2 a year.
Yeah. Man, there's just so but the thing is that they're gonna keep making those movies where you have to like watch all the movies that came before it. So it's like,
well, but if you like just watch them from now on, then you will always be up to date.
But that's the thing, though.
Won't have any catch up to do.
When Infinity Wars came out, Forrest and all my nerdy friends were making me rewatch the movies again. And then when Endgame came out, they made me do the same exact thing.
Well,
so I was like,
that's
no more.
The company you keep, not the franchise's fault.
Well, I feel like the franchise has twisted the company I keep into their minions. But no, I don't know, I'm kind of one of those people that like, I don't know, if like the movie itself, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. If I feel that, then I'll go see it. Like, for instance, I don't really feel that for what's the new Spider-Man movie name called? I don't really feel that for it because it's kind of like, oh, they're like studying abroad or whatever, and then there's this evil guy that comes in and he doesn't really seem evil in the trailer, but apparently he's evil.
Yeah, but Tom Holland.
That's Spider-Man, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just, I haven't gotten over the trauma of the original live-action Spider-Man movies.
Well, see, I'm wanting to erase that trauma, so
yeah.
I'm, like, all for this new Spider-Man.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so, I don't know. I mean, really, like, I liked the first 2 new Spider-Man movies.
I think there's only one out right now.
Okay. But yeah, like, the first one looked really good, but this one, it looks kind of almost too, like, hey, he's a teenager, haha. But then there's other movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where now that Gamora's not in the picture, I want to see what happens with that. So there's just some that I'm going to see and some I'm not going to see. And that needs to be okay with everyone.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that is fine. I think since they've done this, like, big, everybody that we've ever had ever is going to be in all-in-one movie, that was kind of what caused the whole, you need to go see all of them so you know who all these people are. There probably won't be another one of those for a long, long time. And so if you just kind of pick and choose what you want to see, I don't think you're ever going to be lost.
See, okay, so that's what I really want, is just being able to go, that doesn't look very interesting to me. That's great if you guys like it. I'm going to stay home and watch more Game of Thrones while you guys go watch that. And then if there's one that I do, like, it's like, I don't want to feel obligated to go see movies. Most of the time, I'm going to want to go see them, but I don't want to feel like, oh, gotta get the, like, Captain Marvel. Like, I wanted to wait until that one came out on DVD because I didn't want to have to pay full price for freaking movie tickets. But I was like, oh god, it's not going to come out on DVD until after Endgame, so we had to go see it in theaters. It was a great movie.
Yeah.
I want to do
See, that's the thing. You're always, like, reluctant, but then you see it, and you're like, yeah, okay.
I want to do it on my terms, Emily.
Oh, my gosh.
It's for my entertainment.
You're just stubborn. That's what this is.
Maybe.
Yes.
You're listening to Almost Sisters, a podcast where 2 almost sisters discuss their weekly interests. It's the same thing they've been doing for years, but now they're in front of a microphone. And they're editing it and posting it with an audience. This is going to be trickier than they thought.
So for the first part of our podcast, we are only going to be talking about things that won't spoil the movie, just general impressions and kind of telling people to go see it because of reasons. We will let you know later on in the podcast when it is time for spoilers, so you can scurry away, go see the movie, and come back and finish listening. So without any further ado, Emily, what was your impression of this movie? The Endgame, Infinity War, Avengers? I don't know.
Okay, Infinity War was the last one. This is Endgame.
Okay.
Even.
I didn't know if it was like Infinity War 2, Endgame.
No.
Okay.
No, Avengers 4 in Endgame.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. We got to get this terminology correct. This is highly, highly important.
I know, I'm gonna give myself some lashings for this later. How dare I? Oh man. So
no, but yeah.
What were your impressions about? So were you satisfied with how it ended?
Yes.
Okay.
If anybody out there is listening, is trying to be like super, super careful about spoilers. I make no promises. I'm gonna try really hard, but so I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It felt very satisfying and complete. I'm sure people know that this is kind of supposed to be the end of the main Avengers arc. The Russo brothers aren't writing anymore after this movie. This is kind of like a big wrap-up type movie. And so I think in that respect, it was very satisfactory as far as ending certain storylines but keeping the door open for things to continue on.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I liked it a lot. It was a 3-hour movie, and it, to me, did not feel like 3 hours.
Yeah, I chose the perfect moment to go pee when there was like an emotional scene. I was like, they're gonna be talking for a while. I got up, went pee, and it was fine. And I went. Forrest was like, you didn't miss anything. And I was like, I got it. I did it. Didn't need the app or nothing.
Didn't need the app or nothing. So what were your overall thoughts?
Mine was, I have kind of been very open about my thoughts of being kind of burned out by superhero movies, and I think I really liked this one a lot because it didn't really feel like a superhero movie. It felt more like, I don't know, it kind of felt more like Lord of the Rings, where, there's this journey in place and there's these like set like main characters, and they kind of bring people in as they come along, and then there's this final ending that kind of wraps everything up in a nice bow. So it was just all in one movie basically. So I really liked that. It wasn't kind of like, it was, there's a lot of twists and turns. Like, it wasn't like, oh, okay, well, we know that the bad guy's gonna lose and like all this other stuff. Like, it wasn't what I expected it to be. Like, right off the bat, I was like, oh, did not expect that to happen.
Right?
So,
like, I agree. There was something there was a lot of stuff in the first, like, 15 minutes that I was like, oh, whoa, okay, hang on.
I was like, so this is a different movie than what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be really great.
In a good way.
Yeah. And so, like, it was kind of like, well, how is this, like, so it's just open-ended then, right? And I was like, well, no, there's 2.5 more hours to this movie.
Yeah.
So they have to come up with something. And I was like, what's going to happen? And so, it was kind of like, I wasn't really sure how things were going to resolve for any of the characters. Like, I feel like I should have known what was going to happen to some at the end, and we'll get into that later when we're spoiling. Mm-hmm. But, like, when it happened, I was like, I didn't see that coming for some reason.
Oh, God. Okay. I cannot wait till we get to the spoiler part, because I have so many things to say. Oh, my God. Okay. But anyway, yes.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people kind of knew what was going to happen just based off of, outside resources, whether that be, I'm not even going to say specifically, but a lot of people kind of had an idea about what was going to happen, but I kind of did too, but I did not expect the way that it happened.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, people could guess, okay, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Yeah, but they're going to take you for a wild ride to get there.
Yes.
So, Yeah, so I really liked that. I really loved, there's a couple of scenes where we got to see, like, all the major characters of the franchise so far there. So, like, no one was amiss at that point. And it was just really cool. It was kind of like a, oh my gosh, like, this has been, you know, however many years in the making since Iron Man. And you really get that feel, that, like, that weight or the expanse of it all. Like, they've been working on this to get to this point for a long time. And it was really cool.
There was a couple things like that where it was like, okay, they had to have known, like, they set it up way back when, like, first Iron Man movie, first Captain America movie, first Avengers movie. Like, there was stuff that they had set up a long time ago. Yeah. And so it was like, man, if they have been thinking about it for that long, been planning it for that long, like, it turned out amazing.
Yeah, and that was, I mean, we rewatched the first Iron Man because I hadn't seen it since, I don't know, before I graduated high school. And
so you got to see RDJ as a baby.
Yeah. And so we rewatched it, and at the end it says Iron Man will return in the Avengers. And I was like, I had no idea, because the Avengers doesn't happen for, like, you know, 5 or 6 years after the first Iron Man. I was like, I had no idea that was, like, already established in the first movie. And so that was really cool, knowing that going into Endgame, because, I mean, you see a lot of movies where there's, like, you know, extra trilogies or sequels or whatever, Star Wars, where you know that they didn't plan ahead. And so there's kind of some holes and everything else. But no, day one, they knew that this was going to be.
They knew.
Yeah. So that was really cool. So do you feel like what the franchise is building up to was, you said that you were satisfied, but do you feel like everything that you were hoping for was met with this movie, or do you feel like there might be some holes?
There really aren't very many. Like, there have been a couple things that after thinking on it for a bit, I'm been like, okay, maybe that I wish they would have done this or that, but I don't think that there's one thing that happened that I'm just like, I don't really agree with that, but we'll get into that later.
Okay.
Overall, I think they did a good job of kind of containing it all. I mean, kind of like you said, this was kind of a whole thing in and of itself. Like, it had the beginning, middle, and end, which is, you know, all movies need to have. But as far as, like, it's a self-contained story. Yeah. And so it's not like they really introduce any, like, big major thing that they had to tie up in the same movie. It was like, no, we're still dealing with this, and we're gonna deal with this, and this is what's gonna happen. And so I think they did a good job of taking their time, or using their time wisely, and not, like, trying to throw too much in.
Yeah, I think that it didn't feel like kind of what you're saying, it didn't feel like everything was just shoved in. Like, they're like, we gotta get this all done really quick, and, you know, we gotta make sure. I mean, you know, I was like, 3.5 hours, like, they're gonna make sure to cover as much as they can. But it's like, there's even, like, some moments where it's like it was slow, and then you got to really experience these moments with these characters.
Yeah, they took their time.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I really appreciated that as well. I feel like I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I think the only difference is that your favorite character had a great ending, whereas I realized after watching through the movies, I was like, okay, who's my favorite Avengers? Well, guess what? Mine was Fat. So, yeah, so now we're entering spoiler territory if you're ready.
Yeah.
Because we need to start with this.
We need to start with this?
We need to start with what I'm about to say.
I loved it.
No. Okay.
I thought it was amazing.
So, spoilers to everyone out there. Thor, the God of Thunder, was a fatty. He was ugly and fat and just gross, and just, like, even when he like did his power-up move at the end, he was hideous. And it was so upsetting.
I disagree wholeheartely.
Well, I don't, because he's the God of Thunder, and he needs to be, like, strong and everything else. And I was just like, Thor, what happened? Why are you not recovering from this? What's going on? So,
hey, okay. All right. Do you want to hear my piece on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
'Cause I thought
your favorite character had a good ending.
Hey, okay, this has nothing to do with him. This is all about Thor.
Okay.
This is why I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think that whoever did the marketing for this movie is a genius and amazing, because that element was hidden in everything.
I was not prepared.
Like, we walked in the movie theater and they had like cardboard cutouts of everybody in their time jumping suits, and like Thor was trim. He had a short haircut. They said not a peep about it.
Yeah.
It, like, the fact that they hid that so well was amazing. Secondly, I think that scene when they are in the port town and he's in his shack with his alien buddies and they're playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
This is like spoiler. Y'all need to quit listening. Like, I mean, Eddie said this when we were talking about the movie. He thinks that Thor stole the whole movie because his reaction when Banner comes in and he's trying to get him to come rejoin the Avengers, his reaction of like being drunkenly upset was so accurate and felt so real, and was just like, yeah, this like hit him hard. He is taking this on because he feels responsible for not stopping Thanos at the end because he didn't get to him in time. And so it's really affecting him. I love that they didn't just like immediately zap his fat away when he started like rejoining the Avengers or when he got his thunder powers. Like, I loved it. I thought it was realistic and amazing.
Okay. But he's not your favorite character.
I still thought he was amazing, though.
I think it's just kind of like, you know, we rewatched all the movies that had Thor in it, and the whole time I was like, man, Thor's really cool. He's really powerful. Like, he has a great arc and everything else, like, throughout his journey with the 2 Thor movies, everything else. And I was like, man, like, I told Forrest, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go as Thor for Halloween. I'm going to be female Thor. I got the hair. I'm ready.
Do it.
But
Still
now
do it.
I have to trim. No, now I have to trim up because if I don't, they're going to be like, oh, are you Thor from Endgame? I'll be like, oh, bitch. So
that's not going to happen. Okay, Thor is not going to be thought of forever as being the fat Avenger. Like, that's not his identifier now.
I'm not so sure about that.
I am.
Okay.
I think people still love Thor. I have not. You are the first person that has been, like, upset by that I've come across.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like, I mean, maybe it's because, like, I always found, like, Thor, like, this inspiring, like, you know, he's really tough, and, like, he's as he likes to call himself, the strongest Avenger, and, you know.
He can still be all that.
You know, maybe I'm just fat-shaming Thor. But at the same time, I feel like it was unnecessary to do it through the whole movie.
I liked it. We will disagree on this topic.
Okay.
Just like we disagreed on Captain America.
Yeah, that he killed all the Wakandans, yes.
Okay, we're not going into this.
No, but okay, so let's talk about your favorite character and how much better his story arc was in Endgame than mine.
Well, here's the thing also. That's his ending. They had to write him off, and so they had to, him and Iron Man, this was their movie to wrap up their entire stories, and so this was going to be a big Captain America Iron Man show. Thor's not done yet. Chris Hemsworth has renewed his contract with Marvel.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought like all the original Avengers are just going to be done.
I thought so too, but according to Twitter, now who knows how reliable Twitter is, but according to Twitter, Chris Hemsworth is gonna keep going.
Okay.
And so he will most likely be in Guardians 3.
I am less upset about him being fat now, because I thought that this was like his last movie. Like, this was his like ending of his arc, and I was just like, are you kidding me?
I see more where you're coming from now. If this was his ending, that I would have been like, yeah, okay, that's kind of lame that they didn't. Yeah, but no, I'm pretty sure he's coming back.
So he recovers from Endgame in the next movie that he's in.
I believe so.
Okay. Because I think it wasn't just that he was fat. It was that it kind of showed just how far he had fallen, because he was still like this, like, drunk, like, I'm going to go sneak off to the wine cellar while we were doing this important mission kind of thing. And I was like, come on, Thor. Come on, man. so that's why I was upset about it. But if that's...
I think he will have an arc to recover.
Okay.
I think he'll be good.
That's good to know. All right. I'm okay about the fat thing now. We're good.
Okay. So
anyways, Captain America.
Who I love. And love him even more after this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I was just so giddy the whole time. Like, I loved it. Mm-hmm. I thought he had a lot of good one-liners. I thought they...
my favorite. That's America's ass.
That's America's ass. I think my favorite is when he's fighting himself and he's just, yeah, I know.
Yeah. He's like, I know, I'm ridiculous.
I get it. But, like, I also liked that they didn't shy away from, like, bringing back up some of the stuff that he's caused problems with in the past. Mm-hmm. Like, him and Tony, like, I love that they're friends again, but they are kind of, like, on agree to disagree basis friends. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Tony brought up the whole, like, look, you screwed up, I screwed up, but you screwed up, but we can move on kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I like that they didn't really shy away from that. Yeah. I think they kept everything very, very real as a superhero movie can be in this movie, and we can talk about pacing a little later. Yeah. But I cried at the end.
Definitely.
I cried a lot. I was doing so well because I was like, I'm going to keep it together through this entire movie. And I did. But then the credits started rolling and I let my guard down and all the tears, they came flowing.
Yeah.
But that ending scene, it got me right in the feels so hard.
Yeah,
oh no. Even now, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, it's so good.
Like when that scene came on and they're dancing, Forrest like wrapped his arms around me and I hear him go, and I'm like, oh my God, he's crying. But like at that point, I was already crying. So like I knew how Iron Man was gonna go out because of how Doctor Strange was like, if I tell you, you won't do it. And I was like, he's gonna die saving everyone else. Yeah. And so I figured it was gonna be with the gauntlet because it was Iron Man, whatever. So I knew that was gonna happen. But then when his chauffeur is talking to his daughter and they're talking about that she likes cheeseburgers and her dad likes cheeseburgers and she's never gonna know her dad, I was just like tears. Like I was just like, I can't, and I just was crying so hard. But then it just kind of from that point just kept going.
Just kept going.
So.
And I freaking knew it too. Like honestly, I thought the first time they went back was when he was gonna stay. I was like, oh, he's done. He sees Peggy, he ain't moving. But then he came back and I was like, okay, good, responsible Steve. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But then when it's like he's going back in time again and I'm like, oh, now he's not coming back.
Well, see, and that was one of the things that I didn't see coming. Like, because I was like, okay, he's obviously gonna, because I don't know whose contract was up or whatever, so I didn't know who was gonna be whatever, but I was like, okay, well, he's gonna come back. It's like, it's kind of weird that it's just him, and then all of a sudden it was like, he didn't show up, and so like, after it was like 5 seconds, and I was like, that mother, like, he stayed back there.
But yeah, no, as soon as they started going into details, like, oh, it should only take 5 seconds. And I'm like, well, it's not gonna. There ain't no way.
It's like, Emily's like, I know my boy. He ain't gonna come
know
back.
My boy. He's sneaky. He will go back. Oh, And I'm glad that they had that scene at the end, because if it had just ended with him sitting by the lake, I probably would not be as satisfied with it. Yeah. But the fact that they went back and showed it, I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I feel good now.
It was like, okay, it was kind of a resolution. Like all he wanted was to be with her, and like so that's how his story ended. But then it was also like extra sad because by that point she's dead, and I was like, oh, they like lived a happy life, and he's just like a widower. So
I think I don't know if she's dead though. Like she might be. Well, yeah, I guess she would be.
Yeah, she died at the beginning of Civil War, I think.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's true. So, but it was a recent. They'd been together a long time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was just like, oh my God, like he lived his life with her, and like it was just like a whole thing.
Oh, but oh God, another thing that gets me every time I think about it, it gets me. So in the scene you know, they're establishing, they're like back in time, and you see the old car rolling by, and it starts slowly zooming in on the house, and it's gonna like go through the window to see them dancing. Yeah. But like, if you look on the left, like the front door is open, and so it's literally like he just like walked in, and she just like saw him, and they just started dancing, and I'm just like,
gave me chills like that.
No,
I didn't even think about that.
It gets me every friggin' time. I just can't.
Like, that was the moment that they reunited. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that.
It like what? Yes. Oh, okay. I'm okay.
Okay, but we got to go on to a more tragic note of what happened. Yeah. So I was like, no, Hawkeye and Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. Sorry, I forgot for a second. No,
everybody just calls her Scarlett. Nobody calls her Black Widow.
So no, Hawkeye, Black Widow. Do not go to Vermeer by yourself.
No,
because or what is it? No, I just said a Mass Effect planet. Vormir. Don't go to Vormir by yourself, because when you're about to die, like that was like when Nebula and what's his face? War Machine went to get the purple one. I was like, oh, the Soul Stone's the only thing. So I was like, no. And I was so upset because I didn't want either of them to die. Because now I'm Hawkeye, according to BuzzFeed. So, and I love.
So your spirit Avenger can't die.
Yeah, he can't die because that means I die. And he was a really cool ninja man at the beginning. So, but like.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Once they got there and I realized what was happening, I was like, well, Hawkeye's not going to die because he's got a family, so they're not going to do that. But those sneaky jerks, they were so good about editing it, because I was like, okay, well, Hawkeye's not going to die. But then, like, so Nat started running towards the edge, and I was like, yep, there she goes. But then he, like, stopped her, and he started running, and they gave him the slow motion in the editing, and I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah. Maybe he is going to die. But then they, like, re-sped it back up, and I was like, you sneaky little guys. Y'all are really good at that.
Yeah, that was me too. I was like, oh, maybe it will be hot. Nope. Okay. Nope, there she goes.
There he goes.
But then I was like, I turned to Forrest. I was like, now they took two of the women that I admire and I hate them.
And in the same way, too.
In the same way. Like, I was just like, the Soul Stone now took two of my favorite ladies. Screw you, Soul Stone and Marvel.
Not a fan of the Soul Stone.
Yeah. They better figure out a way to bring them back from the Soul Stone, because...
Well, there's going to be a Black Widow movie.
Oh, it might be like an origin story, though.
Yeah, it'll be a prequel. But she'll be back, I guess. That's
true. Her story is really cool, so that'll be fun to watch. But Guardians of the Galaxy is just going to be sad now, because Quill's going to be like, I miss Gamora. I got to see her, but she got vaporized.
I feel like... Okay. So, do you think she did get vaporized?
I mean, there was a sound argument toward her getting taken away with everyone else, because there wasn't really a clear distinction, because Iron Man didn't know that Gamora was a good Gamora. He just wanted all of them gone.
I know, but like, the gauntlet is so powerful. Like, couldn't that distinction be made?
Maybe. But at the same time, like, it wouldn't be the Gamora that Quill fell in love with.
Yeah, but they can rebuild.
It's fine.
It's fine.
She can just accept that he's in love with her and just wants to be with her all the time when she doesn't know who he is.
She can learn to love him. She did the first time.
Yeah.
If she comes back, I have faith in them.
Well, so the only thing that makes me question is the fact that Quill was searching for Gamora, and so maybe he's going to try to find a way to get Gamora back. So maybe that might be what the third Guardians of the Galaxy is going to really be about, is Quill trying to find her again.
I think it'll have something to do with Gamora. However they do it, I don't know, but I do think a big portion of Guardians 3 will be that.
Yeah.
At least I hope so.
Me too. Yeah, because she's my favorite of all the Marvel characters. So.
But that brings me to one complaint that I had. I had a couple, but this was one of them. Besides Iron Man, they didn't really have remembrances for anybody else that actually died.
Yeah.
Like Nat and Vision And, Loki, I don't know if they would do that, but, like, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was somebody else. But, yeah, they didn't really do anything for Vision and Nat. And so I'm just like, okay, what about them?
Yeah, like that. I thought about that too. Like when Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch were standing out by the lake. It's like, well, do they not get a funeral for their people?
Yeah, that was it. It was just them like,
yeah.
I hope they know. Oh, they know. It's like, okay, that's it.
It's like, that's unsatisfying. But yeah, I agree. But I mean, it might be that they only wanted to show Iron Man because he was the start of it all, and so...
Yeah, they just want to make it special.
Yeah. So... But maybe they'll be back, and that's why they didn't show it.
Black Widow, maybe. Vision, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Which bums me out, because I love Paul Bettany.
I was actually about to say, well, maybe they can rebuild them, but not without Tony Stark. Womp womp.
Oh, no!
So,
oh no.
Oh man. But yeah. I'm trying to think about what else. I feel like we didn't talk about the beginning. So
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The beginning.
So the beginning, for those of you who don't know, and I don't know why you're listening if you don't, but how they just were like, all right, we about to go fight Thanos. Everyone get ready. And then they're like, okay, now we got you. And the Thor's like, and your head's gone. So it was
like that all happened so quickly.
I was like, wait, what? And so like, I was very unsatisfied with that. But then of course, like it happens that, Thanos comes out. But like for a good 30 minutes, I was like, but what? So I was very confused. And
go
ahead.
Well, that's one of the things that I really liked about the beginning of the movie is that, in Infinity War, it, like, started off and it hit the ground running. And it was, like, first 5 minutes there's a death, and then first 15 minutes there's an all-out war in the middle of New York, and it's just, like, it hits the ground running. But, like, with Endgame, after they are done with Thanos, they come back, and, like, the whole tone of the movie, like, slows down for a good portion. It's not even until they, like, go back in time that it even starts speeding back up. And not that it was slow, but it was just a lot more quiet and, like, subdued.
Yeah.
Like, the scene where Ant-Man is sitting outside eating tacos, and, like, Hulk just kind of walks up and, like, gives him a taco. And it's just, like, that was so, like, chill. And, again, subdued. And I just thought that was interesting that they went that route for that whole first half to kind of match the fact that, like, there's just not people around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the thing is that they wanted to show that, I mean, they were just kind of sitting around. Like, they didn't really know where to go from there. Like, him eating tacos was kind of like an equivalent of what they spent the last 5 years doing. Of course, that scene was hilarious.
It was.
And then also when the Hulk gave him his tacos, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. But, okay, another thing we have to talk about, we're jumping around a lot.
Yeah.
But, okay, Banner and Hulk combination, weird or okay? I felt weird.
I think weirdly okay. Like, as far as the plot goes, I don't mind it. For the animation, I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah, it was just kind of, like, hard to look at consistently.
Yeah. He was very, very much in the uncanny valley.
Yeah. And I think it was kind of like, they didn't really, like, I thought that there was going to be, like, I don't know, a resolution between the two sides of him, not just kind of like, well, I couldn't get a handle on the Hulk, so I just became him also. So,
yeah, that's a good point. They didn't really, like, resolve that. It was just like, all right, here's what he's going to be for the entire movie. Get ready, strap on in.
Exactly. Just this odd Avenger just being huge. So, yeah, it was odd. So so let's go back to the beginning. So let's talk about Captain Marvel for a second, because we didn't get a chance to talk about her before we saw the movie.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So, okay, one thing that I'll say real quick is that they relied very heavily on everybody having seen Captain Marvel before they see Endgame. Because, like, the whole scene with the beeper and her showing up from space, like, that all happened in Captain Marvel, and they did not recap for Endgame. And so, in Endgame, if you haven't seen Captain Marvel, she just, like, shows up, and it's like, well, who the heck is that?
Yeah.
Where did she come from? How does she know where Tony is? All that kind of stuff.
That's true. Yeah, because it's like, if you don't know who she is, and, like, you know, she's just like, okay, well, who's this strange glowing lady bringing the ship down, and now she wants to beat up Thanos, but, like, what gives her the right to think that she can take him? And
it was like Endgame started at in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I thought that scene at the end of Captain Marvel with the beeper was going to be like the first 2 minutes of Endgame, but it wasn't. It just wasn't even in the movie.
Well, like, so I think it was at the end of Infinity War, there was like, you gotta wait for all the credits or whatever, and then she shows up because they're like examining the beacon or beeper or whatever, and they're just like, oh, you're here now.
Yeah.
But
so they rely on everybody, like, watching every minute of their movies.
But, like, even so, I was still kind of confused because it's like, wait, what, did she come down to Earth and then go out to save Tony? Or, like, how, what's the order of events here?
But, yeah.
Yeah,
so. Tell you.
No, but at the same time, it was weird because she kind of wasn't... They didn't make her seem like she was necessary. They tried to keep her away as much as possible, it felt like.
Yeah, I do think there was, like, one missing scene where they try to contact her when they start their plan of going back in time, and they, like, can't get a hold of her, and that would explain why she doesn't show up until the very end again. But they needed that one little scene to show that they at least tried to get her involved, because she is so powerful. Yeah,
because it's like, why would you just go and do this mission without saying anything to her when she could, like... she could, like, go to do all of it at once.
Yeah. They kind of did a little bit of it when she was on the hologram phone. She's like, oh, I'm going off and might be out of touch, but, like, they needed just one more tiny little scene to reinforce that.
Yeah, even just, like, walk and talk, like, oh, we can't get a hold of Captain Marvel, done, that's all you need to do.
yeah, something like that.
So,
because I think actually Forrest said this at some point, it might have been when we were playing D&D the other day, about how they strategically planned to have her movie come last, because otherwise this would have been the question the entire time. Well, like, where's Captain Marvel? Why isn't Captain Marvel involved in this? Where is she, kind of thing? Yeah,
she is kind of broken in the sense that compared to all the rest of them, she can destroy an entire, like, mothership, basically, by just flying through it. So I think it was kind of like, you know, they didn't want to overshadow the other characters, especially since they had Captain America and Iron Man leaving this movie.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, well, why even bring her in now? Why not wait until after Endgame to, like, have her...
Probably also to show how powerful everything was. Is like, without her, they probably wouldn't have won.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. She kind of was that kind of... I did love, so it's like she comes in, she destroys the spaceship, she comes back down, she like has the gauntlet or whatever, and then all the women kind of converge onto them, and they're like charging them. I was like, girl power! Like, it was so great. Like, Valkyrie and all of them were just like charging. I was just like, yes, do it,
freaking
girls.
Valkyrie flying around on her Pegasus. I was like, yeah get it, girl. I love it.
Oh my gosh, so cool. And I turned to Forrest, I was like, that one's for the ladies. Because I said that because it was like, there was Captain America when he was like holding on to the helicopter in his arms. And I turned to him, I was like, that one's for the ladies. And then Thor, and then Thor when he's holding open the where the star's shooting out. And I was like, that one's for the ladies. So I finally was like, okay, this one's really for the ladies.
This one really is.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah. So that was cool. Yeah, so Captain Marvel was a bit confusing. I feel like they just needed a little bit more explanation for her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was like, well, why is she even here right now?
I'll be interested to see what they do with her moving forward.
Well, yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, what's her, like, nemesis gonna be like? Because if she can handle Thanos no problem,
Yeah.
like...
I feel like her movie is going to have to establish some kind of, like, kryptonite type thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be something for her to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that makes her not completely overpowered.
All right, so that's the first 2 minutes of the movie. What's next?
Next. Okay, so I was just kind of like... So they find out that the stones are destroyed. They kill Thanos.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of like they're at this point that, you know, there's nothing they can do.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take them 5 years? Oh, wait. No, it was Ant-Man. That's what, right? Because they had to wait for Ant-Man. But at the same time, I feel like that technology, because, I forget, Ant-Man's mentor, old guy.
Yeah.
What's his name? I don't know. He
was
was part of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they would have known that technology existed. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, but, like, maybe... I mean, there were no other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents around helping those that were left. So maybe, like, they just didn't have any... Like, maybe they just had no intel on it.
Okay. That makes sense. I haven't really thought about, like, who... Because, yeah, that makes sense. Because none of the main S.H.I.E.L.D. guys were there.
Mm-mm.
Ant-Man was in his little vortex area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the original Avengers, and they kind of... I guess they've proven before that without, like, leadership... I mean, Captain America's the leader on the ground, but, like, leadership of a general, like, mission...
Yeah, well, especially because they've been a little broken up up until this point. And they kind of split off after the Thanos beheading.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel about the 5-year jump? What did you think about that?
I thought it was too long. I felt...
like 5 years is too long?
Yeah, I felt like... I don't know. I felt kind of like... I don't know why. It bothered me that it took so long for them. Because they're, like, living their lives thinking for 5 years. I mean, of course, and that's why... I mean, it probably has a lot to do with what happened with Thor. And it was kind of like, it took y'all 5 years to do this. And my boy's been suffering this whole time. So... But... Yeah. I don't know. It was just kind of like... I guess I was just... After what happened with Thanos, I was just so confused. Like, I was just like, what is supposed to be happening right now? Like, what's going to be... I had no idea what the solution was going to be. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I was just very, very confused. Mm. What about you? What did you think of it? Huh?
I didn't mind it.
Okay.
Like, I think it kind of did establish... like, kind of how disjointed everybody was. And, like, there were still people that were... trying to think of things to do and trying to, you know, either move on or keep moving forward, but when they all weren't trying to do that, like, it didn't go anywhere. And so I think that kind of helped to drive home the point of, like, no matter how hard one or two of them may try on their own, if they all aren't on board, then they can't do it by themselves.
Yeah.
And so that kind of, like, forced them all back together.
Mm-hmm. So it was really kind of upsetting how Hawkeye, how his family disappeared. But I was also like, yeah, you get those bad guys, Hawkeye. They should die too. Like, half the planet dies.
That was another thing that I was a little confused about. I wasn't exactly sure what he was doing.
Well, like, I think he was like... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, he was, like, in Mexico, and then all of a sudden he was in Japan, and it was like, okay, he's fighting this random dude that we don't really know who he is. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing.
What he was doing was, his family didn't get to survive Thanos, but all these bad guys got to survive Thanos. So he wanted to kind of settle the he wanted to balance things out. Like, well, my family is good and pure and everything else, but these bad guys still lived. Even though Thanos is wanting to make this, like, utopia kind of thing by killing half the population. So I'm going to do it the right way.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So I'm definitely, like, since Endgame, I'm super into Hawkeye.
Especially now that he's your Spirit Avenger.
Now that he's my Spirit Avenger, and he was really cool at Endgame, so...
He was. He had a good movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was just kind of like... before he was always kind of this, like, soldier who does what he's told and everything else like that. It's like, well, what happens when he...
brainwashed and kind of becomes a damsel in distress.
Yeah. And so, like, what happens when he becomes untethered? Oh. You don't even want to know. So, yeah, that was really cool. But, going back to the 5-year thing, because I was kind of bringing that up, because that kind of developed his character, and he became this really, like, hard, gruff character or whatever. I feel like the reason why I didn't like it very much is because for the rest of the characters, I mean, for Hawkeye too, but I was just, like, really sad for them, and it felt like so much time had been stolen away from them, and I was just like, man, like,
So you didn't like it because you felt bad for the characters, not because you thought it was, like, a bad narrative choice.
Oh, no, I didn't, yeah, narrative choice, I get it, like, that's fine. I don't know whenever we're talking about just, like, story purposes or actually, like, how I feel.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, for instance, story purposes, I get why Thor's fat. Personal purposes, it makes me very upset. So, yeah. Yeah, so it was sad, but it made sense. It kind of, like, they're lost without everyone else. Trying to remember everything.
Okay, so I really liked how they went about the time travel thing. I kind of figured that there was going to be time travel involved just because of all the talk about the time stone and, like, how the heck else are they going to fix it besides going back in time.
Yeah.
But I was very interested in how they did it, and I think I like how they came up with the solution.
I did too. It was very unique because, like, of course, they went through all the movies that have had, time travel in it, and of course, they took a different direction. And I really liked that they had to go to 3 different time periods in order to, because that's just when they knew where they were going to be. And so not only did you see each of these characters having to be split up so they could get to these time stones, but you also relive the movies, from a different perspective. So I thought that was really cool.
Oh, no.
So, and I also liked that they could, like, just go in and grab what they wanted and leave and, like, it not really affect their own timeline. They didn't have to worry about Back to the Future disappearing, whatever.
Yeah. I had to, I saw on Instagram somebody, like, had a picture of Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk, and had his, like, explanation of the time travel on it. And I had to read through it, like, 3 or 4 times before I was like, okay, I get it now. I get how the time traveling in this universe works, because it was confusing at first.
Yeah, I don't think it was until they had the Ancient One kind of explain, like, the different rifts that I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. Because at first I was like, well, if you take the time stones, then none of this is going to happen. Like, that's kind of how we understand time travel in movies. But yeah, it was interesting. So, one thing that I've heard a few people say is how they didn't understand why Thanos needed a gauntlet made from a star of, like, these ancient dwarf people to hold the stones, and then Tony Stark could just use his Iron Man glove. And also how the Iron Man glove could fit any hand, even the Hulk's hand, when it looked like a normal-sized person hand.
Okay, that's the kind of detail that I'm just like, all right. Quit being picky.
Well, see, I think it's just kind of one of those things that I always watch out for when it's like, if you're making me watch these other movies to keep up with this movie, I'm gonna nitpick you on stuff because, and, like, it's kind of like how the thing I was most upset about in the last movie, in Infinity War, is how the Bifrost just suddenly was able to be accessed differently, because before it was like, this is the only way. The Bifrost is the only way. You have to use the sword. This is the only way. And then, like, they're like, Infinity War was like, nah, forget that though. We're gonna have him send it because the gods helped him, and then because he has another weapon. Yay! So, it's just things like that.
I think when it comes to details like that, you kind of have to extrapolate on your own. If you want it all to fit, you can make it fit. And so my explanation that I would try to come up with for the whole Gauntlet versus Iron Man thing would be like, okay, maybe because he had the glove made like special, that was what allowed him to use it multiple times, whereas when Tony used it and when the Hulk used it, they were only able to use it once before it like practically destroyed them.
Yeah.
That would be my roundabout trying to make it fit explanation.
Yeah, but at the same time,
You just want to play devil's advocate.
No, listen. Thanos could hold a stone. Tony and the Hulk would have died if they held a stone. And so that's partly why the gauntlet didn't work. But I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone.
It just doesn't fit. Everything's terrible. Marvel sucks. It's fine.
I'm just saying, if you're going to make me watch these movies, Marvel, you need to make sure everything is in line. Don't you Bifrost bullcrap me. I swear to God.
Well, okay, so there is one plot hole that I don't know if you'd call it a plot hole, but there is one thing that happened that I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's because I'm going to overanalyze every single thing that my fave does. It doesn't make any sense why he gave the shield to Falcon and not to Bucky.
Well, the only reason for that...
Well, okay.
Comic books.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Because in the comic books, it's always Bucky.
Well, so his name's Sam something or another, and in the comic book, the other Captain America, you know how like Green Lantern has a white version and a black version? They did the same thing with Captain America. And the Falcon's name is the same name as the Black Captain America.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I totally think like story-wise, they should have given the shield to Bucky because he's the equivalent to Captain America.
Well, yeah,
comparatively.
like Bucky has serum in him.
Yeah.
So he has the like feature, like the superhero features of Captain America. Mm-hmm. Sam already has a thing. He's already Falcon.
He's
Bucky
already
didn't really
Birdman.
have it. Huh?
He's already Birdman.
He's already Birdman. He's got a thing. Bucky
Yeah.
doesn't really have anything left now.
Yeah.
Because he's, left the whole Winter Soldier thing behind, so he's just kind of like chilling. And it's like, he would have been the perfect person to take over. But I've now heard that Sam and Bucky are going to have a TV show. So we'll see how that goes.
Interesting. But I mean, at the same time, Bucky has a arm made out of the same metal that the shield is made out of. So he's already got one of those.
Yeah, but if he's just running around with his, like, man bun and his metal arm, like, he doesn't have a superhero shtick, Let him take over and be Captain America.
Yeah, that's fair. I think as far as, like, story-wise, that would make much more sense. But yeah, the comic books have, like, made it to where they kind of had to relinquish it over to Sam. And maybe Bucky doesn't want to be a superhero like that, like Captain America. And I think maybe Sam's more patriotic and whatnot,
Well, that's another thing is, again, I'm going to overanalyze everything about that scene. But, like, Bucky also acted like he knew exactly what was going to happen. Like, as soon as Steve didn't come back, he like immediately turned around and knew where he was, and he like told Sam like, go, this is where you go now. And so it was almost like he kind of knew what was going to happen, which to me doesn't help. It doesn't make it any better, but
yeah. Oh man. Yeah, but other than that, I don't think that there's anything like I kind of expected, because there's so much converging at the same time. I thought that there was going to be more kind of like, well, why the heck did this happen this way? But all in all, I think they did a good job.
Yeah, there was very few things that I was unhappy with.
Yeah. Agreed.
Overall, I was very happy, very satisfied. I think it was a good ending for Phase 3.
Mm-hmm. And now Phase 4 and 5 to infinity. We're just going to have Marvel until... Man.
I heard there's only going to be 5, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, they're gonna probably find. I mean, they have over 60 years of comic books to pull from. They're just gonna end up. What they're gonna do is they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna get through all of these characters, and then there's also gender swap versions of a lot of these characters. So now they're gonna have female Thor and Loki, and so She-Hulk.
Well, they have Young Avengers that they can do now.
Yeah,
like. Paige was telling me that she was honestly surprised that they didn't take the opportunity to start introducing Young Avengers in Captain Marvel, because there is a Young Avengers member who is a Skrull. And so it was like, that would have been a perfect opportunity for a cameo, but that never happened. So, but the
or
fact they've
maybe
introduced
it did.
That, or they did.
What if it was the daughter of the guy who died?
It could have been.
Theory.
But the fact that they have introduced that race is like, all right, perfect. You opened the door for that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, there's lots of that. I don't think. Yeah, because I mean, as soon as they finish all the content that they have now, there's always more comic books being made, and they can always just remake. Because in 20 years, those movies are going to be whatever. So
I don't want them to remake, though. I like them a lot.
I agree. I don't want them to remake them. I think it might be kind of like, I know there's like a bunch of like alternate timeline situations, kind of like how they're doing with X-Men. Like it's a completely different timeline from the first trilogy or whatever. And also Star Trek.
I'm glad you made it through.
I did. Somehow.
I appreciate you putting in the effort to get caught up to come see Endgame with everybody.
Yeah. I got you. I'll get caught up. I'll do it. I'll complain about it, but I'll do it.
Hey, there are harder things to do in life than watch some superhero movies.
Fair. I can't argue with that, because I would sound like a total ass if I did. But, yeah. No, it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought, I really enjoyed Infinity War and Endgame, and so it was worth it, re-catching up on all those movies. Because it's kind of like, okay, so there's a lot of movies that we watched before Endgame that I had only seen once or like a decade ago. And so I was like, oh, so that's why this thing's like the way it is. And it was just like, it was a lot of that kind of thing. So that was fun. Be able to see that.
Well, see, that's another thing about Marvel is that, like, I got out of that movie and I was immediately like, okay, I want to go back and watch every single movie now. At least I did.
Yeah, I think I didn't have that feeling.
Figured you probably wouldn't.
But I can understand, because I think I've seen movies. I mean, like with Star Wars. Whenever I get out of a Star Wars movie, I'm like, I want to like rewatch all the Star Wars movies again. I don't do it because I know that I'd be just disappointed. But so unless it's the original trilogy, but yeah. So that was good. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we did that, and it was fun going as a big group, and I could hear every now and then as people were reacting to different things, and every now and then Maddie would look at me and she'd have her shirt like halfway over her face, and I'd be like, oh my gosh. So it was fun.
Thank you for listening to Almost Sisters. I'm Emily.
And I'm Caitlin.
You can follow Caitlin at author csloanlewis.com for her blog and c.sloanlewis on Instagram. You can follow me on YouTube. Almost Sisters is a production of Blab and Scribble Studios. You can follow all of our current and future projects by going to blabandscribble.wordpress.com. You can find links to all of our stuff in the description box. Caitlin, should we do an outro?
No, not today.